You know we are all about finding solutions to make your life a little easier, so today we're pulling in a tech giant to share her insight on living and parenting in this digital age. An expert in social media and technology whose passion for helping modern families navigate technology has amassed a huge following. You may know Randi Zuckerberg from her appearances on the Today Show, where she offers digital lifestyle advice. She's also a best-selling author, public speaker, entrepreneur, and mom of 2 cute young boys, the founder and CEO of Zuckerberg Media, and the editor-in-chief of the popular online community .complicated. Whew, that's a fancy resume there. Randi Zuckerberg is passionate about making life, both online and offline, less complicated, and I am so thrilled. Randi is here with me in studio. So great to meet you.
Thank you. I'm smiling because at 5'2", I don't think anyone has ever referred to me as a giant
there
before.
You are.
So there you are. There's a first time for everything.
You can add that to that impressive resume.
Giant
Thank you.
I
appreciate
technology. That. So.
Well, we appreciate you making time. You're here in Utah. You gave a speech at UVU as part of a groundbreaking event for their new social media center. Not first time to Utah.
It's not my first time here, but how exciting. I mean, I was just remembering back 12, 15 years ago when social media wasn't even a thing yet. I was just thinking, should I go work with my brother at his little startup? And now here we are launching a social media center at a university, right? This is now something that students are studying, and not only that, they have to study it for their careers. I mean, it really just boggles my mind.
And not just how it's exploded, but I think how seamlessly now it's part of our lives. And what I love about your approach to technology and to social media, you're all about using it to enhance our daily living, because there's a lot of trepidation right now about how social media is affecting our real life social skills. What's your take on that?
That's right. Well, first of all, you and I are both moms, and I think a lot of times we feel that technology, it can come in between us and the people we love, instead of bringing us closer together. So that's really what I've dedicated this chapter of my career to now, is really talking to families and letting them know technology, it can be a fun, creative, wonderful force in your home. You don't have to be glued to a screen. It doesn't have to come in between you and the people you love. And that's the problem. When we think about kids and tech, we immediately go to an image of a kid on a sofa glued to a screen.
Isolated.
Right. Yeah, that's it. Isolated in their own world. And but there's so many incredible creative ways to introduce children to technology in a way that brings families together and have fun. So
I think part of the nerves come into play because we're the first parenting generation to raise children who will have this as part of their lives from the start, from the beginning. I'm curious to know, I have a 2-year-old, you have a 2-year-old. What sort of guidelines do you set in your home to keep those connections rich and alive?
That's a great question, but you know what, I'm going to ask even another question before that, because I think before you can make rules for your children, you have to take a good hard look in the mirror and say, what are your rules for yourself? Because so many of us, it's easy to say, okay, no screen time, no this, limit, and then you turn around and you're guilty of emailing and texting at the dinner table and doing all those things. So I think, you know, and where do you think your kids are learning that behavior from? So that was hands down the hardest thing for me, was taking a good look in the mirror and changing my own relationship with technology. I do think when it comes to tech, it's something you should involve your children in the discussion. I love the idea of having a digital allowance. Just like you'd have a monetary allowance, sit down with your kids and say, okay, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, or whatever it is, then it's up to them. If they want to budget it and have time every day, great. If they want to blow it all at once, that's up to them. They'll learn about budgeting in the future.
Well, so many lessons wrapped up with that one method. I like that a lot.
So that's something I really love, especially going into a school year. I also think there's a lot of great apps out there that can show you, so that you're not feeling like you have to monitor your kids' phones and log in all the time. It'll send you a basic rundown every week. Here's how many minutes your child spent doing schoolwork on their computer or phone. Here's how many minutes they spent playing games, and then you can kind of take that data and walk in and have a discussion with them.
I love that. I love that. And you did mention, I mean, it takes great self-discipline, going back to our own self-reflective moment on how we're using it. Utah certainly isn't Silicon Valley, but we do have, Randi, a lot of women out there who have made a living from that little device in their hand. They've built brands, they've built businesses.
Fantastic.
How do you balance, as a woman who, you know, has that connection too as part of her professional pursuits, how do you balance the need and the drive to fulfill myself through those endeavors, but also stay present in my home?
Yeah, well, first of all, I love that you're talking about women, because I think technology, the fact that all of us have access to phones, tablets in our pocket, it levels the playing field for women in the workforce in a way that we have never been able to see to date. I do think that there's a lot, it's hard. I often find that my phone is my best friend and my worst enemy. You know, I'm here traveling, I'm not with my family, and so that phone is the reason I can do that, that I can be a working, traveling mom. On the other hand, I find so many times that I'm that mom on the playground. It's so easy to glance at your phone. So I think just setting boundaries for yourself, maybe it's saying, okay, on Saturdays, I'm going to unplug for 4 hours. Or at dinner time, we're going to have a no phones at the dinner table policy. Just having those boundaries will give you some sanity and will set a good tone for your children.
Again, back to that self-reflection and self-discipline.
It's hard.
Your latest project kind of takes a little bit of a turn. I want to ask you about it. It's redefining the family dinner. Tell us about Sue's Tech Kitchen.
Yes. Well, after having so many conversations about tech coming in the middle of dinner time, we usually don't think that phones and dinner can play well together. Sue's Tech Kitchen is a tech-savvy dining experience for the modern family.
Okay.
So you picture this, you go into a cafe. In order to get your snacks, you need to engage with tech and STEM. So we have a coding with candy station. In order to get your dessert, you have to figure out how to program the robot to come and bring the dessert to you.
Oh my goodness.
And so wow. Talk about how children are motivated. When you know that you have to get that robot, you will learn to code to get your dessert.
When that ice cream is dependent on your intelligence, your technology intelligence.
That's right. We had s'mores that were being made on 3D printers, so you could actually pick a design that you wanted, go in and watch a 3D printer make it. So everything in Sue's Tech Kitchen brings families closer together and makes technology something that they can talk about. That's fun and exciting.
Where is this?
It's in Chattanooga, Tennessee, but the hope is that we're going to tour to about 10 different cities across 2018 and hopefully find a few great places to have permanent locations.
So exciting. We'll keep our eye on that project.
Thank you. I think this could be a great area to have a Sue's Tech Kitchen.
Absolutely. Very fun, very fun. I always like to ask women who have such an impressive resume like you. I know we learn a lot from hindsight as it is, right? I'd be curious to know, as you look back over your career and over your personal pursuits as well, motherhood and whatnot, is there a turn you took or a decision you make that you think, I am so glad that I did that?
Yes, I mean, gosh, let me tell you, I've made a lot of mistakes too. I think it's very easy for people to stand up and talk about all the wonderful decisions they made and the things they did. I actually think that probably the best decision that I've made was to be okay with failure. Because as an entrepreneur, as a mom, you're going to try a lot of things and most of them aren't going to work. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay saying, okay, I tried 12 things, 10 of them were terrible, but 2 of them were pretty good. And so I'm going to double down there. And it's those things that really change your life. And so I think that was the biggest change or good decision I made in my life, was to have that mindset that I was going to try a lot of things and I was going to be okay picking myself off the floor.
And talk about a mindset that affects all aspects of life. Parenting, right? Sometimes it's that parenting strategy we try 5 or 6 times until the right approach works with our particular child or whatnot. So I appreciate that.
I like to say I'm a professional technologist and an amateur mom.
I like that. I like that a lot. What a pleasure to meet you and to have you today. And thank you for spending some time with us here on Studio 5. I know your schedule was limited.
Thank you.
So we appreciate you being here.
It's wonderful to be here with you.
Randi Zuckerberg.